Hello there, boys and girls. My name is SidAlpha. I'm coming to you with a review that is slightly delayed. The reason for the delay was I was actually delayed myself in sending out a request for review code for the game. Stardock Games was gracious enough to provide me with a review code, and they got back to me fairly quickly, but I was slightly delayed in getting the request out, and then it took some additional time to be able to play through the game, because these types of games, you don't want to just play an hour or two and say, well, I've got it sussed. No, it's one of those games where you have to put in a minimum of 10 to 12 hours worth of gameplay to be able to formulate an opinion. So that's what I did for you guys. But here we are with Offworld Trading Company, that was released April 29th, I want to say. April 28th, I'm sorry. And this is developed by Mohawk Games and published by Stardock Entertainment. For those of you who aren't aware, Stardock Entertainment, they've produced a lot of my favorite 4X genre games ever. Sins of a Solar Empire being top among them. Those are I still play Sins of a Solar Empire, the original games, to this day. Even though they're extremely old now, they're still exceptionally good. But before we get into Offworld Trading Company, let's flip over here real quick and we'll take a quick look at the options menu. Okay, so here we are at the options menu. We have the graphics, resolution, we do have all the standard resolutions including 4K, frame rate limiting 100 FPS, 60/30, or a VSync, 1 interval or 2 interval, graphics settings, low, medium, high, or custom, rendering quality, low, medium, or high, colorblind, which is something that I always point out whether I find colorblind or not in a game's options menu, because I do personally feel, even though I am not colorblind myself, that that this really, in this day and age, colorblind options really should be a thing, and it's absolutely fantastic that the developers included this, and they really should be commended for it. As I mispronounce it, deuteranopia, protanopia, and tritanopia. Colorblind options. We have ambient occlusion, bloom, motion blur, tone mapping, anti-aliasing, although I'm not sure what kind. Depth of field, vignette, full screen on or off. Audio, we just have music or effects. There's no voice acting in this game, so there's no need for any additional options there. And these are simple sliders, music or effects, which is fine. It's serviceable. Gameplay, select language. We've got a list of languages there. Grammatical gender, basically whether the game refers to you as male or female. Game mod. So apparently they are planning on allowing for mods to be built right in. Movement speed, zoom speed, a lot of resource options, hotkeys, which are all rebindable. This is a well done options menu. I like it. It's not super heavy on features, but it's got everything that I would want to see in a game of this type, including the colorblind adjustment, which is just phenomenal, and you don't see it enough in video games these days, and I can't say it enough that I'm really glad they added this feature, and they really do need to be commended for it. So, Offworld Trading Company is an interesting spin on the traditional 4X format that we typically see from Stardock Entertainment. In this game, you take control of any one of several different corporate conglomerates as they do what they do best: manipulate the market, squeeze out, or take over competition, and really do whatever it takes to earn that almighty dollar. Now, the overall gameplay is very similar to what you would expect if you crossed an RTS with a resource management game with Sid Meier's Civilizations. Now, you do have the opportunity to pause, which you will want to do on harder difficulty levels and more complex games, as the game does go pretty in-depth. Juggling various resources to make sure you have the proper base components for more complex items was actually pretty easy to get into after the first few minutes, and the tutorials did a fantastic job in preparing me for the campaign and the multiplayer. Now, the game is essentially a resource management game where you build a variety of construction units focused on a specific item such as power, oxygen, water, iron, exotics, to name a few. You will need to remember that your company consumes some of these resources, and they will be different resources depending on which company it is. And you'll need surplus production on others to be able to produce things like steel, glass, and food. And each one of those requires at least 2 subcomponents to create. Now, you do have the option to automatically sell off your surplus production, but you do have to worry about another mechanic here, and that is the market value. The more you sell of a specific item, the cheaper it gets unless there is an active high demand for it. And you can at any time also purchase products that you aren't able to create yourself quite yet for a fee. These separate mechanics are integrated really well here, and I found the system to be really easy to handle as I progressed through the game, which was a bit of a surprise really, because taking resource management and real-time strategy and combining those together in this extensive of a format is typically you would see in a game would be very unwieldy and very top-heavy, but they did an amazing job at being able to balance things through here. The graphics aren't bad in Offworld Trading Company, but they're also really nothing to write home about either. I suppose the term would be expected graphics quality. And what I mean by this is the graphics are good, they get the job done, and the game does look crisp and clean. However, as with most strategy games, the graphics only hold up at a distance, and they look a little basic and sometimes lacking definition when you get really close to the assets. Now, overall stability of the game is really exceptional. I mean, I encountered no crashes, no stutters, no glitches, and I deliberately attempted to put the game under as heavy a load as I could manage, and it passed through with flying colors, showing that the devs did really show some care in crafting this game. So really well done there, guys. It was fantastic. Now, the replayability in Offworld Trading Company is also what you would come to expect from the lead designer of Civ 4, and that is there is a ton of replayability. With a full campaign, skirmish mode, daily challenges, and a fully fleshed out multiplayer supporting up to 8 players, this game really promises extremely good value here, guys, for what you spend for it. I mean, there's a metric ton of replayability value here. In regards to the story, though, story mode in games like this are usually barely a thought, and this was no real exception here. The game does offer a bit of light humor every now and then, and showing that they don't take themselves too seriously. But if you're looking for a fully fleshed out story or anything like that, you're not going to find it here. So to wrap up, boys and girls, Offworld Trading Company by Mohawk Games is a real-time strategy resource management game that has taken a nice spin on the traditional 4X format, and they've done so in a fantastic method that I really like to see. Polished, clean, well-balanced, well-managed. They hit every note just right with this game, making it an absolute joy for me to play, and it really makes it easy for me to be able to recommend this to you guys if you like RTS or resource management type games. And this being a bit of both, it offers a fresh spin on those type of games, and something that someone who may not necessarily be a fan of some of those types of genres might still be able to find some enjoyment here. So it is basically all I've got for you guys in regards to that. Again, it's Offworld Trading Company by Mohawk Games and published by Stardock Entertainment. Now, just remember, guys, Stardock Entertainment is one of my favorite publishers in regards to video games of the past, like Sins of the Solar Empire and all sorts of other things. And so typically I'm a little bit harder, a little bit more harsh on them than I normally would be. And but so far they haven't let me down in a lot of areas, and this game is no exception to that. Came through with flying colors. It is available on Steam as of the 28th. It's discounted until May 16th for 25% off at $30. Normal price is $40 or your original equivalent, and I think at either price for this game, for the amount of playtime that you'll be able to get out of this game, and for as good a job as they did, This game is extremely polished. I have a really easy time telling you guys that this is a good buy and good value for your money. So that's it. I'm still a bit tired, so I'm going to get this thing edited and posted as quickly as I can and hit the sack and get some sleep. I love sleep. So thanks again, boys and girls. Once again, I am SidAlpha, and I will see you next time. Cheers. Hi there, boys and girls. Thanks for checking my video out. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe even that subscribe button. Trust me, it works really good. Don't forget to share with your friends, and if you're interested in following me on Twitter and Facebook, the links for that are in the description down below. I also have a Patreon if you're interested in helping to support the growth of my channel, and the link for that is down below as well. And once again, thanks for watching and supporting my channel, guys. I really appreciate it.